Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's class, we gonna discuss about induction and competence, which is very important topic for the developmental biology and which is important for CSAR, UGC NET, GATE, DBT, JRF and other life science exams. Okay, the environment where usually a child grow will influence his future behavior. Yeah, that's right. So how the person or the child will influence, maybe due to the family members behavior or maybe other person's behavior, maybe friends behavior, these all will store in the particular child brain and it influence his future behavior, maybe negatively or positively. Like that, during early stages of development, every cell will experience a particular type of behavior and it influence the future fate of a cell. Okay, so how a cell during embryological development is influenced, maybe due to the gene regulatory networks or maybe due to the other types of cells signals. So we can communicate through our mouth, because through our vocal cord, because we can talk and we can produce voice or we can give signals to the other persons. But how particularly cells will give signals to each other means in the form of molecules. So here the induction and the competence, one which gives signal and other one will respond. So induction and competence is simply giving signals and responding to the signals, that's it. Okay, in development, cell behaviors such as adhesion, migration, differentiation and division regulated by signals from other cells. So how a cell influencing which is regulated by the signals from the other cells. So what are the cell behavior means? Adhesion is so important because we are multicellular organisms. Without adhesion we can't we don't get any particular structure. So one cell and other cell, the cells within the body or within the tissue will adhere each other by the different type of proteins and other molecules, and cells will always migrate from one place to other place during developmental stages, that we can see in the gastrulation. And differentiation is also important because during embryological development early stages, every cell doesn't have any particular type of fate. So every cell looks same, but it want to differentiate into particular type of cell. So that is a differentiation important. And when we see the early embryo, when come to the up to blastopore and gastrula stage, it look like a small one. So if it want to grow like a adult, it need to divide more. The cells in the embryo divides more. So the division also is one of the cell behavior which all are regulated by the signals from the other cells. So this signal may be reciprocal. That means, for example, take A and B cells. A cell gave signals to the B cell for the differentiation. So after differentiation, B cell will give signals to the A cell to undergo differentiation. So this kind of reciprocal induction also we will see here. Okay, vertebrate eye. So one of the example for the induction and competence is the development of vertebrate eye. When we see vertebrate eye, usually the functions of a vertebrate eye to transmit the outer environmental signals to the brain, right? So the light transmitted, what we are seeing at outside, the light transmitted through cornea, which is focused by lens tissue, and finally which reach to the neural retina, and it will produce a signal and it will fix something related to that particular thing what we are seeing in our brain. Okay, coordination of construction of one group of cells changing the behavior of another group of cells to change shape, mitotic rate and cell fate, the same thing we have discussed. So this kind of coordination between two or more cells will change the behavior of one group of cells to change its shape, mitotic rate, that is division, as well as cell fate or differentiation. Okay, so this kind of interaction we will simply call induction, because here if you see the two types of cells, if we take two types of cells having different histories and different properties, but one signal giving signals to the other one and other one also giving signals to this one. So not always reciprocal induction takes place, but in the maximum conditions of developmental stages, reciprocal induction is very important. Okay. In every inductive interaction, there must be two components. One is the inducer and another one is the responder. For example, I am the inducer, I am giving signals to you, you are the responder. So you are being induced. So here signal that produced by one type of cells are called inducers. So inducers are mostly paracrine factors. Paracrine factors means the factors which are released by the adjacent cells are called paracrine factors. So if inducer gave signal to the particular type of cell or particular type of tissue, that particular type of a cell receiver will respond to that signal. Okay, but that responder must have a receptor to respond to signal, because paracrine factors are mostly in the form of any biomolecule, maybe glycoprotein or protein, whatever the biomolecule form. But if the responder cell doesn't have that particular receptor, it unable to respond to that particular signal. Okay, see, all tissues will not respond to the inducer signal. Particular type of tissue only will respond to the inducer signal. So this ability to respond to a specific inductive signal is called competence. Okay, so here the induction is nothing but the giving signal and the competence is nothing but the ability to respond to that particular signal. Okay, remember this. So let me see the building the vertebrate how vertebrate eye will develop in the amphibians. So you can see here in this picture there is one normal induction of lens by optic vesicle. See that region. So if you see this region, there are U-shaped curves are there. Two U-shaped curves you can see here. Okay, so in that the backside U-shaped curve is the optic vesicle, or we can call it as brain bulge out. So the brain bulge out here and it is approaching the surface ectoderm. The outer line is the surface ectoderm here. So you need to remember here the brain bulges or the optic vesicles are same. Surface ectoderm or head ectoderm both are same. Okay, head ectoderm competent for paracrine factors from brain bulges or optic vesicle. Head ectoderm induced to form lens of the eye. So here optic vesicle or brain bulge giving a signal, that means it is releasing a paracrine factor and inducing the head ectoderm or surface ectoderm to form lens. So to form lens, vertebrates require a signal from the optic vesicle. So which region of the embryo is competent for this particular signal from the optic vesicle is nothing but the head ectoderm or the surface ectoderm. So remember. So okay, it want to form a lens, but lens should have a particular type of curve shape. Okay, and as well as it should elongate, because during embryonic development the lens is very small, which is made up with a few number of cells. So it want to elongate, it want to form a curve shape. So to form a curve shape and to elongate, there are specific type of proteins, Rho family GTPase proteins will control these all elongation and curvature. Okay, now prospective lens cells formed. See, the embryo still at embryonic stage, it does not reach at the adult stage. So prospective lens cell. So after responding to the signal, the lens forming a lens fate was determined. Lens cells fate was determined. So now prospective lens cells formed. Those are not fully differentiated, but their fate is determined. Okay. So these prospective lens cells again release the paracrine factors and instruct optic vesicle to form the retina. So the optic vesicle gave signals to the head ectoderm to form the lens. So head ectoderm responded to the signal and formed a prospective lens cells, that means which are not fully differentiated but their fate is determined. This prospective lens cells again giving signals to the optic vesicle to form the retina. So here the retina and lens are co-construct each other. Okay. So these kind of paracrine factors which are released from the co-construct parts are called the reciprocal paracrine factors, and this type of induction is called as reciprocal induction. Okay. So head ectoderm only region capable of responding to the optic vesicle. For example, if we take optic vesicle and place it in the trunk ectoderm, that is in the middle of the trunk ectoderm means the part which form the digestive tract. Okay. So if we place the optic vesicle in the trunk ectoderm will not respond to the signals given by the optic vesicle. So head ectoderm only can receive the paracrine factors of the optic vesicle and it can only form the lens. Okay. So if optic vesicle from Xenopus levis embryo placed underneath head ectoderm, so underneath the head ectoderm means within the head ectoderm but a different region. So here we are not going to trunk, we are just going to the within the region of head ectoderm. Frog optic vesicle should be normal and it can induce the lens tissue also, because we are not placed in any other region, because embryos have that capability to modulate the structures. Because for example, if we are removing optic vesicle from one place and placing in another place of the head only, so it can particularly form the retina tissue in future, as well as it can give the signals to the head ectoderm or surface ectoderm to form the lens tissue. Okay. But trunk ectoderm will not respond to the signals which is given by the optic vesicle, that you should remember. Okay, because trunk ectoderm doesn't have any particular type of transcription factors or the receptors to respond to the signal from optic vesicle. Okay, here you need to remember only head ectoderm is competent from the optic vesicle signal. Okay, remember this thing, because it is very simple concept but somewhat may confuse, but if you study 2 to 3 times you may understand very easily. So we can see the experiment here. If you see the first one, normal induction of lens by optic vesicle. So here usually the optic vesicle as well as head ectoderm also placed in their particular regions only. So it can form the normal lens. Okay. If you remove the optic vesicle, if there is no optic vesicle, then who gives signals to the head ectoderm or trunk ectoderm to form the lens? No one will give. So if you remove the optic vesicle, there is no induction. So you should remember this is the separate experiment 3. Okay. And if you see 2, you removed the optic vesicle, and if you place that optic vesicle in the trunk ectoderm will not respond, because it is not competent to form the lens. Only head ectoderm competent to form the lens. Okay. So tissue other than optic vesicle implanted, no induction occur. So you have removed the optic vesicle and you have placed another type of tissue, but there is no induction, because optic vesicle only can produce particular type of signal, and head ectoderm or the surface ectoderm only can produce the competent for that particular paracrine signal. Okay. So okay, we have discussed about optic vesicle giving signals to the head ectoderm and head ectoderm forming lens, but there are other factors also influence the formation of vertebrate eye. So studies on amphibians suggest that, so not only the optic vesicle, there are other inducers also to form to give signals to the head ectoderm or surface ectoderm to form the lens. Okay. The first inducer of the lens is nothing but the foregut endoderm and head forming mesoderm that underlie the lens forming ectoderm during early and mid gastrula stage. So here the first inducer of the lens, what are the tissues? Foregut endoderm. as well as head forming mesoderm, which usually present below the head lens forming ectoderm. Okay, so they are directly giving signal. And the second inducer is anterior neural plate, which includes signal for the synthesis of PAX6 in the anterior ectoderm. Anterior ectoderm is nothing but the head ectoderm. So here anterior neural plate also giving signal. With the help of that signal, anterior ectoderm or the surface ectoderm or the head ectoderm producing a specific type of signal that is called PAX6. Okay, remember PAX6 is very important here to learn, because in the most of the questions they are asking about PAX6. So PAX6 is necessary for the competence. So to receive these all signals from the inducers, the surface ectoderm or the head ectoderm should synthesize the PAX6. Then only it can receive the signal, or it can be competent to the signal. Okay. So optic vesicle and two inducers are in competition for inducing head ectoderm. Here we have seen total 3 inducers. One is the foregut endoderm and head forming mesoderm. Another one is the anterior neural plate, and the third one is the optic vesicle. These all 3 are in the competition to give signal to the particular type of head ectoderm to form the lens. Okay. So unidentified inducers. So that means foregut endoderm and cardiac mesoderm, which cause the synthesis of the OTX2 transcription factor in the head ectoderm during the late gastrula stage. So there are unidentified inducers which is causing the synthesis of the OTX2 within the head ectoderm. OTX2 transcription factor also producing at the late gastrula stage. So remember this also, I will show in the picture. Optic vesicle secrete 2 paracrine factors. So optic vesicle, so we have already discussed optic vesicle giving signals to the head ectoderm. So what are that signals means? There are 2 paracrine factors. One is the bone marrow like protein BMP, which is received by the lens forming ectoderm and induce the production of SOX-TF. So BMP is released by the optic vesicle, which is received by the lens forming ectoderm, and this lens forming ectoderm producing the SOX-TF, SOX transcription factors. Okay, and if you see here, another paracrine factor which is released by the optic vesicle is the FGF8, fibroblast growth factor like protein 8, which induce the appearance of LMAF transcription factor. So optic vesicle producing 2 signals, BMP, FGF8. With the help of this, the head ectoderm which you want to form lens is producing the SOX and LMAF transcription factors respectively. So you can see here in the mid gastrula stage, you can see dorsal mesoderm is placed here, and there is a presumptive retina tissue and there is a presumptive lens ectoderm. Okay, so retina, here you can see that retina, presumptive retina tissue is nothing but the optic vesicle which is giving signals to the head ectoderm or the presumptive lens ectoderm. Okay, we can't say after getting differentiation only we can say, after determining its sulfate only we can say it is presumptive. Okay, so we have discussed during the late gastrula stage, unidentified inducers maybe from the foregut endoderm or the heart forming mesoderm giving signal to release the OTX2. OTX2 is released by the lens only. Okay, lens, presumptive lens tissue only. And in the early neurula stage, when the neural development occurring, during that stage PAX6 also releasing along with the OTX2. Okay, so when we see the late neurula stage, OTX2, PAX6, SOX3, particularly SOX3, LMAF, these all are expressing in the late neurula stage from the head ectoderm to form the lens. Okay, So you can see here the optic vesicle is releasing the, so you can see here in the zoomed picture, so some dark one is there, which is the optic vesicle which releasing the signals of FGF8 and BMP4. So FGF8 is in dark pink color and BMP4 is in green color. So if you see the next one, there are some cylinder like shape. In that you can see there are receptors. So these receptors are necessary for the competence. These receptors are the present on the head ectoderm to form the lens, and you can see here that receptors are receiving signals from the optic vesicle, which are FGF8 and BMP4. So which is very simplest topic, but we need to learn properly. So PAC6, SOX2, sometimes SOX3 also in some of the organisms. LMAF in the ectoderm need for the production of lens and activation of lens specific genes delta crystalline. So these transcription factors need for the production of lens as well as activation of lens specific genes which are called delta crystalline. Okay, PAX6 important competent factor for the head ectoderm to respond to the inducer. So optic cup or optic vesicle which gives signal to the head ectoderm, and head ectoderm will release the PAC6 which is very important to receive the signal. So you can see the experiment. So if optic vesicle is normal and the surface ectoderm is normal, so then lens induction occur. There is a double mutation in the optic vesicle. Double mutation means there are two alleles in the diploid organism. So if two alleles undergone mutation in the optic vesicle, but surface ectoderm does not undergo any mutation, means lens induction occur. Because you need to remember one thing, surface ectoderm want to produce the PAC6, not optic vesicle, because optic vesicle want to produce the BMP and FGF signals. So those are received by the surface ectoderm and it want to produce the PAC6. So here there is no PAC6 mutation in the surface ectoderm. So that's why the lens formation is normal. But if you see the third one, which is vice versa to the second one. So wild type of optic vesicle, but there is a double mutation in the surface ectoderm. So if there is no production of PAC6, then how surface ectoderm will respond to the signal from the optic vesicle? So if it is unable to respond to the signal, then there is no induction. Okay, if a mutation in both also, we don't there is no formation of lens, but we should not consider the PAC6 mutation in optic vesicle, because PAC6 signal from the optic vesicle we should not require. Okay, we need only BMP and FGF signals from the optic vesicle, and we need surface ectoderm want to produce the PAC6. Okay, so there are two major modes of inductive interaction. One is the instructive interaction and another one is the permissive interaction. So in the instructive interaction, signal from inducer is necessary for the new gene expression in responder. Tissue already been specified but need a new environment to develop or differentiate. So if you see instructive interaction, so just as like how our lens induction occurred, so signal from the inducer is necessary. So after receiving signal from the optic vesicle, head ectoderm produced the PAC6 to respond to this, and after that it activated some SOX as well as LMAF as well as OTX transcription factors. So these all are only activated by the inducer signal, and as well as it is also activating the delta crystalline genes, right? So instructive interaction means a signal is necessary for from the inducer to produce the new gene expression. If a new gene expression occurred, then only the cells undergo into specific fate. Okay, so if you see the permissive interaction, tissue already been specified but need a new environment to develop or differentiate. Here we don't need to give signal for the new gene expression because it is already specified and determined. So it requires just a new environment. So what is that new environment means? it's just extracellular matrix. Without that extracellular matrix, that few number of cells unable to produce the large number of tissue. Okay, large size of tissue, or the tissue which contain large number of cells. But if you see interactive interaction, if optic vesicle plays a new region of the head ectoderm, it will form lens only, that we have discussed, right? So in interactive interaction, inducer signal is necessary. In permissive interaction, just a new place environment is required to differentiate. So let me just recall the reciprocal induction. So we know that for the induction, reciprocal induction is another type of a character or the feature. So one of the example is, once a lens has formed, it become the prospective lens cells and it induce the other cells. So just as example, what we have seen, optic vesicle giving signals to the head ectoderm to form the lens, head ectoderm giving, the prospective lens cell which is formed from the head ectoderm giving signals to the optic vesicle to produce the retina. Okay, so let me see some more deep. Under the influence of factors secreted by the lens, the optic vesicle becomes the optic cup. So after receiving signal from the prospective lens cells, this optic vesicle form the optic cup. So the walls of the optic cup, so when we see the walls of the optic cup differentiate into two layers. One is the pigmented layer retina and another one is the neural retina. Pigmented retina is very important to detect the light, and the neural retina which will give signals to the brain. Okay, so remember, so such interactions we will call reciprocal inductions. Another principle can be seen in such reciprocal inductions. A structure does not need to be fully differentiated to have a function. That what we have discussed now. So after receiving signal from the optic vesicle, head ectoderm does not forming the complete lens, but it is just forming the prospective lens cells. That means just sulfate determined lens cells only. So with the help of that we can understand the structure does not need to be fully differentiate to have a function or to give signal. Okay, and the optic vesicle induces the surface ectoderm to become a lens before the optic vesicle has become the retina. The same optic vesicle also not become the retina, but it is giving signal to the head ectoderm to form the lens. Similarly, the developing lens reciprocates by inducing the optic vesicle before the lens forms its characteristic fibers. So same here, lens is also not produced fully, not produced its lens fibers, but giving signals to the optic vesicles to form the retina. Thus, before a tissue has its adult functions, it has critically important transient functions in building the organs of the embryo. So with the help of this topic, we can understand how cells behavior during the early development. So in the next class we will see the previous year questions, how to solve the previous year questions on the induction and competence. And if you like this video, please like and share to your friends, and if you have any doubts, please comment. Okay, thank you everyone.